How's it going, guys? I am Matthias, and as many of you know, Apple announced some much anticipated information for their long-awaited Apple Watch. The Apple Watch is available for pre-order on April 10th, and on the 24th it is on doorsteps a little bit more than a month away. However, of the information that they released, the biggest shock to me was the price. In their original keynote a few months back, the only price point that they released was that the watch would start at $349. What they failed to mention was that price point doesn't stop. It ranges all the way up to $17,000. Even ignoring the fact that the ostentatious yellow and rose gold versions of the watch exist, the price still ranges from $349 up to $1,099, that is. So with the cheapest Apple Watch on average $100 more than the Android counterpart, the question then is, who is going to buy the Apple Watch? Better yet, who is the Apple Watch even marketed towards? From the start, we have a general idea. Apple lovers, obviously, tech lovers and reviewers, which is the category that I fall into, and potentially fitness gurus that actually own an iPhone that really likes statistical data that can analyze. Is that enough? No, it's not. And from the way that the devices are designed all the way up to their marketing strategy, Apple seems to know this. They are choosing to market the watch as a high-end fashion personal device. Not a smartwatch, not an activity tracker, not something that necessarily adds value to your life. Sure, they tout some of the health features, but only second to its relevance in fashion and personality. Even on their website, the feature that allows you to share your heartbeat with your companion is higher on the list than its push into fitness, which by the way requires 2 Apple Watches to do, rendering the feature completely useless if you're single or if you have a wife like mine, who is not interested in the slightest on strapping one of these things onto her wrist. Although she also didn't see the big use of an iPad when it first launched, but now it's actually her favorite device. If you think about it, there are a lot of similarities between the launch of the iPad and the Apple Watch, when people were typically saying, why on earth would I want a bigger sized iPhone? That doesn't make any sense. Why on earth would I need a tiny screen on my wrist when I could just pull my phone out of my pocket and check my notifications? But as people used the iPads, it became obvious instantly as the size of the screen can drastically change how we interact with the device, making an iPad extremely different than an iPhone. So if history behind the iPad will tell us anything, it's that Apple doesn't generally enter a space without weighing every option. So they chose to not market it towards tech lovers and fitness gurus like Android counterparts, seeing as Android Wear hasn't yet convinced the world that screens on the wrist is the next standard. So that brings us back around to price. What is the price dictated by? Internal components, materials, manufacturing costs, or what the market will bear? I find these price points incredibly expensive, taking into account a couple key factors. You need an iPhone to make it work, and it may not always be so, but for the time being that's already either a $700 investment minimum or a 2-year contract with a carrier. On the note of contracts, that brings up another factor, the lifetime and renewal cycle of this new device. With an iPhone, you have a chance to subsidize the cost of a device with a 2-year contract, and with the Apple Watch, it's just one lump sum. How long will these watches last before they're outdated or even not usable anymore because of the small battery size? Seems an incredibly high price for something that will have the slowest specs on the planet in 5 months' time. Worst yet, it's marketed as a fashion device, and we all know how fast fashion moves. It could be out of style before August. Jokes aside, the Apple Watch can potentially be one of the most expensive personal devices that Apple sells on their site. But it's up to you to decide what's more useful in your life, and if the Apple Watch will actually add value to it. Regardless of how it's priced, it's a new device in an entirely new class that the general public wasn't aware that they needed up until now, so really it's up to early adopters to convince the world that it's worth that hefty price tag. I see the aluminum model with the plastic strap immediately being the most popular iteration. I can't see people spending more than that on bringing a device that's so young in the ecosystem into their day-to-day lives. As I said, I fall into the tech lover category, and that's one of the reasons why I'll be getting it, reviewing it, testing it out. But that first week is crucial, because if it doesn't prove itself to be useful in my day-to-day life, it's going right back. Will you be buying the Apple Watch when it comes out? I'd love to know why or why not down in the comments below. There's no right or wrong answer, I'm just honestly curious about your motivations and thoughts on the watch. If you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a like and subscribe for more of the same. See you next time.